and it's the Big Ten with the exception of Rich Powers of UNI and Turkey of North Carolina State, the heavyweight. Boy, we're looking forward to this one. There's Russ Hellickson on the left, coach the blue team from Ohio State University. And on the right there is Craig Turnbull, the coach of West Virginia. That's the blue team coach. Here's the red team coach, Mike Denny of the University of Nebraska, Omaha. And Jay Lyles is out here, too, from Northern Montana, the coach of last year's champion NAIA team. And Tim Johnson, you couldn't ask for better matchups anywhere. And here are two outstanding referees, Mike Pyle of Grinnell, Iowa on the left, the vice president of the National Wrestling Referees Association, Officials Association, and Chad Crow of Jackson, Minnesota uniforms. They are in the blue and red singlets. The blue team, as we said, has the Iowa Hawkeyes in it, and mainly Big 8 teams. And the Big 10 teams, Big 8 is in the red, and that's Eric Akins of Iowa State, number 2, against Chad Zaputil, number 1. They split this year, and Akins has been tough, and he takes the first 2 points away from Chad Zaputil, and it's Akins 2 and Zaputil nothing.
Well, what Eric Akins was able to do right there is what Chad Zaputil usually does to his opponents. That's control the head right off the whistle. He was able to destroy Zaputil's position there, snap down the head, and spin around for 2. And Akins saying, I'm for real this year. They're 3-3 in career against each other, but last year Zaputil controlled. It's not the story this year.
They have gone 1-1. I believe that Akins won in overtime the first time, and Zaputil won the last time out.
Against control. Well, Eric Akins, one of the improvements has been he's been a better rider this year. He's a lot stronger, and he's got his weight under control better than he did last year. That makes a big difference when you learn to control your weight so that you can gain strength without and not lose weight right at the last to the detriment of your performance.
The referee in the center is Mike Pyle. Chad Crow is operating as the second official, the mat judge on the edge of the mat. So we have 2 officials here. The voice of Mike Pyle, you hear, as in this 3-minute first period, Akins tries to restrain Zaputil. Chad is out, and it's 2-1 in favor of the Iowa State wrestler in the red, Eric Akins, in this All-Star Meet from Iowa City. National Wrestling Coaches All-Star Classic.
That was a nice explosive move by Chad Zaputil as he came up in the stand-up, cleared his arms, cleared his hands, and came out real strong, and that's what you have to do. Especially after Akins had ridden him out for 48 seconds. Sometimes you can get down, but Zaputil came right back with an explosive escape.
We're about halfway through the first period, 2-1 in favor of the man on the left there, Akins. Hearing some of the coaches talk about this match, they say, whoever maybe is the more explosive. And it was interesting to see Akins take a shot right at the very beginning, which was more scoring than either one of them did in the first match.
Well, and you notice the shot wasn't an underneath shot or a leg attack. It was, again, a controlling the head. You see Chad Zaputil right there trying to control that head, and Akins trying to snap him by. Little shuck move, kind of, but it didn't work.
Zaputil wanting to come under. Akins lost his headgear. Now Zaputil had the leg and lost it with about 53 seconds to go. 2-1 in favor of Akins over Zaputil. 2-1. That's Eric Akins looking around for the clock.
Two All-Americans here, Doug, from last year, and Chad Zaputil, of course, proving himself as one of the top. His only 2 losses last year came to the national champion, Prescott from Penn State. And Akins was 8th last year, becoming an All-American, but I believe he's closed the gap on Chad Zaputil, and they're going to be some good matches every time they meet.
They're both youngsters. They're both real. There's a tough throw by with Akins going for his second takedown. He overpowered Zaputil that time and takes a 4-1 lead, a shuck.
Akins looks a lot more patient this year. He looks like he knows what he wants, and he's willing to wait for it and stay in good position to get it.
Oh, nice reversal here by Zaputil, I think. No, just one for the escape. We'll look at the takedown again.
On the mark, gentlemen.
By Akins.
Here's the finish, and he's able to trip the legs down, keep his hips down low, and come up for the 2 points. But as we just saw, Zaputil was able to get out for one, and now the score is 4-2 in favor of Akins.
But the period is just about over, and there it goes. But an impressive first period by the wrestler in red was Eric Aiken of Iowa State in this all-star meet. If you just joined us, that's why you're not seeing team uniforms. These are all-star meets. The blue team Chad Zaputil represents, the red team Eric Aiken. Choice went to Aiken, I believe.
I think you're going to find this match is one that comes down to shape.
Aiken gets to his feet, but Zaputil returns him to the mat again, taking off a little riding time.
And
out of bounds they go. At least in the opening going here, Aiken actually looks physically stronger. Maybe that's part of that being settled in at that weight.
Well, he really is stronger. I don't think he's any stronger than Chad Zaputil because Zaputil is extremely strong for his weight class. But that's what I've been saying is that Eric Aiken has improved his strength, has got his weight under control. He's a different wrestler this year, Doug. You're exactly right.
Oh, that was almost trouble for Aiken because Zaputil in the blue, wrestling for the blue all-star team, almost pancaked Aiken in the air. But Eric is out. He's wrestling for the red. And Aiken leads 5-2 with about a minute and a half left in the second period. First match of this all-star meet at Iowa City. You're just joining us, boy. It's a big one. Beautiful heel pick by Zaputil. And it's 5-4.
You know, what's going to happen here is who can ride the wave, Doug. Whoever can get it going and score several points at one time, maybe a takedown, maybe points to the back, somebody that can put a flurry together is going to make the difference in this match.
Well, there was Zaputil coming back.
Look at that. Head, ankle, driving into the hip, taking the position away from Eric Aiken and getting the 2 points.
Position, Red. Let's go.
And then going right for the crossface.
Freeze on Bob going top.
5-4, a 1-point lead for the man on the bottom. Aiken gets to his feet.
Neutral, Red.
The escape, 6-4. A minute left, second period. Eric Aiken got 2 takedowns in the first period on Zaputil, but he's given one of them back.
Work in.
Zaputil gives the impression of coming on now.
Well, what Aiken's going to have to do is going to have to come back to the middle because Zaputil's doing a really nice job of staying in the center and forcing Aiken to the outside. It's good strategy by the Iowa wrestler, Chad Zaputil.
Controlling the head, nice move by Zaputil, but can he score with it? No score yet. You see the official. He won't give the takedown. And Aiken got his hips back and prevented a takedown.
Good hard wrestling by both wrestlers. That was a very nice counterattack and good head by Eric Aiken, but it wasn't because Chad Zaputil gave in or anything. He was coming after him. It's really a great match right now.
16 seconds left in the second period, and I think you're right on the business of shape.
Well, and I don't know who it's going to be. I'm just saying, on a match this hard, somebody is going to outshape the other guy.
Try to score, Jim.
We'll take a look at Jim Gibbons here, who's the coach of Eric Aiken. There's Jim in the up in the press area shaking his head.
Gentlemen.
We'll talk to Jim at intermission. He recently announced his resignation at the end of the year. 2 minutes of wrestling left to go. In the red, Eric Aiken of the Red All-Star team of Iowa State leads 6-4 over Chad Zaputil. And a beautiful pancake by Zaputil. He was a little bit too high and he lost it. No points. Didn't keep control.
Aiken's dodging bullets right now. He's going to have to stay in good position right here. He's got the advantage. He hasn't been called for stalling. Now he just has. There's the first warning.
Aiken was just warned. Aiken leads 6-4. He had a big first period, but he has faded a little bit since. And here's Zaputil on a double leg.
Now the hip action right here is real important right there.
A double. Return by Aiken on a counter, and he leads by 4.
Aiken had real nice hip action to counter, and then he dropped back into the legs on Zaputil to get that 2 points. That's a nice job by Eric Aiken.
Riding time now. Aiken has 46 seconds of riding time as they break. The escape goes to Zaputil. He trails by 3. It's 8-5. Aiken with less than a minute to go at 118 pounds. Number 1 ranked Zaputil against number 2 ranked Aiken.
Zaputil is pushing and he's putting some pressure on Aiken right now. There he is in. Akins going to get called for stalling again if he stays on the outside. Zaputil doing a nice job of pushing, but he's got to create some action.
Aiken controlling the head, but he's not making any shots. And of course,
work, gentlemen, trying to score.
You hear the referee, Mike Pyle. 3-point lead for Aiken in the red team. And there's the warning. There's the point. A takedown will tie it.
Takedown will tie it, and they'll go to overtime
because they are wrestling no draws in this All-Star Meet. 12 seconds, 10 seconds to go. There's a single leg by Zaputil. Can he score with 5 seconds to go? Can he score? He did! And there's Dan Gable. He jumped out of the stands. An 8-8 draw. We go to overtime.
3-minute period.
With 1 second to go, Zaputil took Aiken down.
Boy, I'll tell you, the TV has caught a lot of emotion there. You saw Coach Gable jumping up. You saw Barry Davis. You know Jim Gibbons is up in the stands. Very, very exciting to go into overtime. That's how all matches should be. There should be no ties. This is great, Doug.
It's a 3-minute overtime. Here's what happens. They wrestle 3 minutes starting on the feet. If they settle it, it's the first period. The first person who scores wins.
That's right. It's sudden death in the first period.
And if they still haven't scored, then they go to...
Doug, it's going to end in this 3 minutes.
I think it will, too.
Work in, work in.
Zaputil keeps in, keep coming. Aiken had 3 takedowns in the regular match, but that last one by Zaputil was a big one. Here is Zaputil in, trying for the bar scar. He didn't get the other leg, and there's the win for Zaputil. With 46 seconds gone in the overtime, Chad Zaputil beats Eric Aiken 10-8.
That okay? Here's the winning takedown for Zaputil in on the single leg, controlling the hips right there. And for the second time in a Smetty meeting, Chad Zaputil wins this match in overtime. There's Dan Gable showing his exuberance. Zaputil at Las Vegas Invitational beat Aiken in overtime, second time in a row. Hey, there's going to be some good matches ahead between those two, Doug.
Yeah, there sure are. They're going to be around for a couple of more years. And there are going to be some good matches yet tonight. Here we go in the All-Star Meet at 126 between the #1 ranked man in the blue All-Star uniform, Terry Brands of Iowa, against the #3 ranked man, Sean Charles of Arizona State. This is one of only 2 matches where the #2 man or the #1 man where both of them are not in the match. But Sean Charles of Arizona State in the red.
Both very physical wrestlers. Terry Brands likes to intimidate by working on the head, and Sean Charles won't be intimidated tonight. He's been around now a couple of years, and he's just a young man that loves to wrestle. He's just gotten better and better, Doug. I'm not surprised after we've seen him on Iowa Public Television. I'm not surprised that he has matured and is in this meet.
In on the leg.
Don't for it.
Brand.
Don't for it. We're okay.
Chad Crow is the official doing the talking here with the match ref. Mike Pyle in the second time around. No score yet. No advantage yet for Brands. Now there is. 2-0 Brands. That's potentially dangerous, according to Chad Crow. Now there's Tom Brands, Terry's brother, and he's getting ready for what is the most anticipated match probably in this meet. The rematch at 134 between Tom Brands and Alan Freed.
To give you any indication of his feelings about it, he said this NWCA All Star Meet is really neat. We get to eat some good food, we get a ring, and that's all nice. A lot of people don't ever get to experience these. But it's a friendly atmosphere, and I don't like friendly atmospheres.
Terry Brands now, his brother out at 126, has taken the lead over Sean Charles 2-0. As we said, we're not keeping a team score here, but the red team is composed almost entirely of Big 8 wrestlers, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and the Big 10 dominates the blue team.
And you can bet each conference is trying to make a case here, Doug.
You bet.
Get the uniform
And
shot.
Rich Powers of UNI is on the blue team. Another potentially dangerous arm bar.
Sean Charles is the lone Pac-10 representative out of Arizona State, but Arizona State has been a very powerful and strong team in the past several years under Bobby Douglas, who's the Olympic coach this year. But there's some programs coming up. In fact, Mark Johnson out at Oregon State is bringing the Oregon State Beavers along, and Pac-10 is going to be a conference that continues to improve if they continue to get coaches like that out there, like Mark Johnson and Bobby Douglas.
Charles is out to make it 2-1 on the escape. And Chad Crow calls time here to allow Charles to get his headgear back in place with 1 minute and 8 seconds to go in the first period. Terry Brands rode Charles for 51 seconds after the first takedown. And as always with these Iowa wrestlers, very, very aggressive. You see a cast there, I believe, on Sean Charles' hand.
In fact, that was brought to Sean Charles by Terry Brands. There's the takedown, a low. He did that nice, set it up, dropped down to the legs and got the 2 points.
Deep outside, low shot.
Talking about that cast there on Sean Charles' arm. Brands broke the hand of Sean Charles in a 7-5 victory in the Midlands just a month ago.
So Charles has been coming back. He did wrestle against Iowa State and won.
Watch your angle.
Back in the line again. That tough hammer lock over there. The bar arm with 15 seconds to go in the first period. Brands leads 4-1.
They don't get much more physical than Terry Brands at 126. He's very, very physical and strong for that weight class. He's been able to hold it for a couple, 3 years now, and he's a dominant force at that weight. You're going to have to go and be awful physical if you're going to go with Terry Brands.
Let's see that takedown from the first period there.
Sets it up. Look at that. He just shucks the arm by, drops down to the ankle, covers both legs, comes up for the 2 points.
And he happened to catch Charles in midair as well, so it made it 4-1.
Just a little post action there on the arm and a drop down, lowering his level into the legs. It was very nice execution by Terry Brands.
Second period, 4-1, Brands leads. And Charles let Brands go. He'd rather be on his feet with him than riding him. 5-1 now is the score. Charles made a shot. He didn't have any chance with it. And Brands dominates him on the counter. It's 7-1. Favor of Brands. According to the referees, there was not reaction time enough there to make that a point. There's Dan Gable. You think he's excited? Even though he's not.
I know before the meet started, he was on the edge. Right here, a little shot, half-hearted shot by Sean Charles, but Terry Brands is able to post the head, snap around, and even though Charles comes and spins around and faces him, Terry changed direction, went the other way for the 2 points. Real nice job of action-reaction by Terry Brands.
Official sets him up. Brands comes to the top, leading 7-2, goes right out front. He's feeling very confident. Now it's 9-3.
It's a nice job by Sean Charles. He got in low, got the ankles, and kept driving through. He didn't stop. Got the 2 points.
Just shows that you don't want to put him out of this match. He's up awfully high right now, though, and Brands wants to shake him off.
No change it now, Blue. Relax. Easy, guys, easy. Go.
There's Melvin Douglas.
Assistant coach at Arizona State, hopeful Olympian, and helping Bobby Douglas down there, and here coaching Sean Charles from the side. You know,
unofficial coach over there.
I mean, there's a lot of unofficial coaches out in this crowd of almost 9,000, if not more.
Now it's 10-5. Big second period here. 2 takedowns for Brands and 1 for Charles.
Very nice execution by Sean Charles to almost get a takedown. But Terry Brands was able to keep his head in his good position. And
again, a low single by Sean Charles, but Brands is over the back.
What's the knee? Both of them. No, we're going up.
That's dangerous, says Chad Crow, and he brings them to their feet with 38 seconds to go.
Charles is doing a nice job. There's Russ Hellickson and Craig Turnbull, coaches for the blue team.
Again, Charles comes under, but he flattened out, and Brands went right across the back again, counted him, and the official Chad Crow immediately called a stalemate there. 10-5. The blue team's Terry Brands of Iowa leading. 20 seconds to go.
Score.
On the edge. You can score out there, and in fact, Brands did, because I think Sean Charles gave up a little bit too quick.
You want injury time? Let's go now. Take a position.
On the replay, controlling the head. Look at that. Underneath the arm, controlling the head, put a lot of pressure on, so therefore Charles can't come up to a good base. Now, he just sits down. Terry knows right where he is, has the toes in and gets the 2 points. You got to know where you're at the mat, because you can, on the mat, because you can make a difference out there and score.
Gentlemen.
12-5, and there will be no escape here at the end of the second period. And it's a 7-point lead for Terry Brand. There's Russ Hellickson. Interesting thing about Russ Hellickson, you know, he has in the past been critical of the Brands for their roughness in matches, but he said he'll just stay out of their way here. It's not his business to get in their way in this meet. And so there's Terry Brands out in the match, and Russ Hellickson watching, and Tom Brands warming up to go against Alan Freed. 12-6 after the escape.
No, center.
For Sean Charles. The Reds against the Blues, All-Stars, the best wrestlers in the United States, head-to-head at Carver Hawkeye Arena. They're not keeping a team score, but the blue team has a lot of Iowa Hawkeyes on it. The red team has a lot of Oklahoma State Cowboys and Iowa State Cyclones. Brands in position for another takedown, 14-6.
Release him, release him, release him. We're not neutral yet. We're not neutral. One.
Now the escape.
Let's start it. Stop. Tie your shoes. Just set him through the mat again.
A minute 25 to go, 126 pounds. Chad Crow stopped the action to get Sean Charles to tie his shoe. He initiated that, so of course it was not the strategic shoe tie that the tactical shoe tie that some of the fans in Carver Hawkeye thought it was. On their feet, a 7-point advantage for Brands. Carver Hawkeye Arena on College Wrestling Iowa Public Television, one of our primetime specials. I'm Doug Brown with Tim Johnson. We're really tickled to be here to bring you the matches between the best wrestlers in the country. Another takedown for Brands. And another. 18-8.
So what Sean Charles is saying is that, hey, you're not giving me reaction time. I can't even have time to face him. But the referee is calling that they're broken and that the Brands can get in and after it for the 2 points. And he's been able to have his way in most of this match, Brands has.
We're just about through here. 50 seconds in this match. 18-9 lead for Brands. His brother Tom is coming up next, just about ready to go against Alan Freed in that much anticipated rematch at 134. In just a few moments here on public television. Brands got off balance, and Sean Charles comes up with a leg. Now he has to finish this. He doesn't have the takedown. See what Brands can do against it. Roll, didn't work. Charles got the 2. But there's the reversal for Brands.
He keeps getting after it. The thing about Terry Brands,
10 seconds.
he just keeps coming at you.
Boy, I'll tell you.
I have a feeling he's going to keep coming after every wrestler he faces until he wins the NCAA championship.
22 to 13. Pretty hard to keep score after all that, but that's 9 takedowns for Terry Brands. And a reversal. And the winner at 126 pounds from the National Wrestling Coaches All Star Meet is Terry Brands of Iowa over Sean Charles of Arizona State. And Iowa has men in the first 5 weights, and the first 2 of those have won. Here's Tommy Brands taking off his T-shirt, getting ready to go for this big rematch that everybody's been waiting for with Alan Freed. Brands is ranked #1, Freed #2 from Oklahoma State, although in the Midlands last month, Alan Freed happened to catch Tom Brands in a headlock and upset him with a pin 42 seconds into the match. And away they go again. Here's Freed. Boom! Just to show people that he's not kidding around, that it isn't an accident. He's a tough wrestler.
Well, Alan Freed is a very good position wrestler. He's in and out. He's bang, bang. He likes to get in and out and play take down, let him up, because he's very, very good at keeping good position and getting the opponent out of position. When you can do that against Tom Brands, you're for real.
2-on-1 tie-up for Tom Brands on the edge. They're both out of bounds. Tom Brands has never lost in this hall. He's never lost at Carver Hawkeye Arena. He won the national championship for the second time here last year.
You'd have to say that everything is set for Tom Brands right here. Coming out from that pin in the Midlands, getting pinned, never losing here with a partisan crowd and an all-star meet. The table's set for Tom Brands and Alan Freed to have a tremendous match.
After that little tussle there with Brands taking a shot, Freed losing his balance on the counter, you have the underhook, almost front headlock situation with Brands, but they're back in the neutral tie-up now.
This is the kind of match that the margin of error is so small, Doug, that you know, there's Don Brands right there. He's getting pretty excited about the match right there. And what I was saying was this margin of error is so small that any mistake, it could be the mistake that cost you the match. It's that close.
Tough underhook, that wizard.
At the edge, gentlemen. Work in.
Drive against each other there.
In.
Two men with fast reactions and lots of power. A minute 50, and we've only gone a minute into this match so far. 2-1 in favor of Freed in the red of Oklahoma State. Here's Brands coming behind. He now leads for the team.
That was a nice job of reaction there by Tom Brands. Turn that into 2 points for him because it was off the shot of Alan Freed.
Work in those. You're still in.
3-2.
You're on bottom, Red.
That's Dan Gable. He's not coaching tonight, but he's right out there on the edge of the mat on the side.
First off the shot, he posts the arm right there, spins around, and comes in for the double leg from behind.
Freeze on bottom, go on top, use the optional start. Go ahead.
3-2. In the blue uniform, Tom Brands, the two-time national champion. These men have met before. They're even up.
Stay in.
Tough ride by Tom Brands. He won't let Freed get any base under him at all.
He's almost flying. Yeah, he's all right. Work in. Go change.
Out of bounds. Freed's wrestling headgear was down in his eyes a little bit there.
Well, you notice Tom Brands riding tough here, and that's something that, you know, if you're going to improve in college, is one of the areas that you really look at, because you don't come out of high school a great rider. And Tom Brands has improved as 3-3. And I'm sure that Coach Gable, as he looks and what can I improve? Let's get riding time. That's one more point, you know.
We're back at it again here, even up at 3-3 with 56 seconds to go in the first period between Tom Brands and Alan Freed. Tom Brands in the blue in this all-star meet, National Wrestling Coaches Association. Freed of Oklahoma State in the red took the shot, fell a little bit short. Boy, you want to make them when you make them, because if you don't, somebody's going to counter you. Brands in on the legs. Can he do it? He did.
Tremendous job of adjusting his position right there. Tom went in. A lot of people, after they go in on that initial shot, would have flattened out, maybe started over, come back. What Tom did was adjusted his position, came up, brought his hips underneath him, then came back around for the 2 points. Cut the corner really nice.
And he takes the lead. That's the first lead for Brands, 5-3.
That was wonderful execution there by Tom Brands.
And he has more than a minute of riding time. He's been very tough on Freed from the top position.
Well, you know, see, he knows he has riding time now. I think that was a goal of his to get it on Alan Freed.
Brands begin to look very tough in those tie-ups at the end of the first period. There's the Brand's twins' mother.
Freeze on bottom.
Very excited. Second period starts. It's Brand on the bottom.
Wait for me, Red, all right?
It's his turn to start under.
Okay, freeze on bottom, go ahead on top.
Freed begins. He wants to put the leg in. But he's not able to do it.
Rest control.
Brands is where he wants to be, and he comes out.
That was all about getting his hips underneath him and controlling the hands. Then he drops back into the 2 points
and takes a 4-point lead. Impressive here for Tom Brands against Alan Freed of Oklahoma State.
Real workman-like fashion by Tom Brands.
An 8-4 lead for Brands. Here's a warning against Freed on the bottom by Mike Pyle, referee.
Keep working, John. Both of you.
One of those situations where Freed, you might want to say, you want to be down here.
Well, you know what you're seeing is Alan Freed's head on the mat. And anytime you see somebody's head on the mat, especially against somebody like Tom Brands, there's problems.
A failed arm drag there by Alan Freed. He still trails by 3. And Brands has been taking the play away from Alan Freed here in the second period, late in the first period, and definitely in the second period.
Keep working.
You know, another thing we forget about these young men we're looking at, these are future Olympians. You know that in 1996, there's a bunch of these that, well, their eligibility will be done, and you're looking at 2 of them right here. You're looking at an Olympic coach and an Olympic champion right there in Dan Gable, but Tom Brands, Alan Freed, you're going to hear a lot about him in NCAA and international wrestling, as you will a lot of these wrestlers. But the key is that they should be trying out this year in 1992. Get a trials behind them and challenge some of the contenders right now. I think that's a message that USA Wrestling wants to get out.
National Wrestling Coaches Association, the front headlock, and then come around, posted the head. Brand got the takedown and leads 10-5.
There's a happy mom. She's excited. Look at that. Stuff in the head, controlling the head, spinning around, and then driving through the hips, dropping down to the ankles, 2 points. All the time attacking those hips and the legs.
10-5, and Brands has been very good on top. He has almost 2 minutes of riding time, Tim. And we're not quite through the second period. Now we are. 10-5 in favor of Tom Brands over Alan Freed.
You know, when you ride somebody out, you just take the hope right out of their whole match. When you let them up, sometimes there's always hope for that throw, but when you're grinding them into the mat, Doug, it just kind of takes the hope away, and you really do something to the bottom man psychologically.
Well, now Freed starts the bottom here, and he has got to come out to have any chance at all. He has to get out in one of those
work in. No, relax. You're on bottom.
Upper body positions that he can work, but Brands has countered him extremely well in this second period. The second period is the difference here.
Freeze, Red.
10-5 with more than 2 minutes of riding time for Brands.
I'm a caution on top. You can't plow in. We're going to wait for the whistle. Okay? Get on easy. Take a position, Red. Wait till I tell you, Freeze. Wait till I tell you. Freeze. Go ahead.
Freed on the bottom. And Brands goes right at him the same as he has, controlling him from the top. Blocks the leg down. He's really working hard on the top.
It's a tremendous job, all right?
At this moment, we are experiencing difficulty with our delayed broadcast of college wrestling, the NWCA All Star Meet, being held in Iowa City. The program will be restored in just a moment, so please stay tuned. Again.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry we had a power outage here in Carver Hawkeye Arena in our truck, and we unfortunately lost the last part of the Tom Brands-Alan Freed match, which Tom Brands won 15-9. There was one rather exciting moment in the last 10 or 15 seconds when Freed put Brands over on his back just for a second, didn't hold him, but it was scary for the crowd.
And then Brands turned right around with a reversal there, got the 2 points, and won 15-9. It was a very good match for Tom Brands, and they'll meet again, Doug.
In the National Wrestling Coaches Association All-Star Classic. Sorry for the interruption there, my friend. But if you're an Iowa fan, you've seen the Hawkeyes in the blue team win the first 3 matches against big rivals. And now we go to 142, where another Hawkeye in the blue, that's the National Wrestling Coaches Association Blue All-Star team, Troy Steiner, number 1, ranked, goes against Rich Santana on the right. And Rich Santana is not a Big 8 wrestler, but he's from Syracuse University, and last year was an All-American.
He's a 2-time All-American, in fact, and one of the assistant coaches there, Gene Mills, is a 2-time NCAA champion who is one of the better wrestlers of all time.
Here's Troy Steiner trying to work his way around Santana with that length, and if he gets the first takedown, he's trouble for anybody. He does. 2-0 in favor of Troy Steiner. Again, we apologize for the interruption, the power outage in our truck here at Carver Hawkeye Arena, which forced us to have to apologize for missing the last half of the big match between Tom Brands, the last minute or so, the Tom Brands and Alan Freed match at 1:34.
Go, guys. Come on, come on, come on. Open up. Let's go.
Steiner leads 2-0. Number 1 ranked, and when he gets on top against almost anybody,
he likes to use his legs, and I mean use them. You know, he's not one that just hangs on. He likes to use his legs and try to turn the man on top, or on the bottom.
Chad Crowe is the official in the middle of the mat on this match. Wants Santana to do better, and he just warned him for stalling on the bottom. Inactivity. And in goes Steiner's leg. That's where he likes to be. He's pretty high, but he doesn't care. He just loves to be up here.
Not all the way through.
Santana's trying to come out the back.
But look at that arch right there that Steiner's being able to save himself. That's a nice hip arch right there. Really putting a lot of pressure on Santana, making it impossible for Santana to shake him down.
He already has 1 minute and 16 seconds of riding time here at 142. You're looking at Rich Santana, Syracuse University. In his senior year, came from Long Beach High School.
Offense.
Born in Manhattan, in New York. But right now he's getting a lot of mat because Steiner is just flattening him out here. That's what they say. You have to get the first takedown against Troy Steiner or Terry Steiner at 150.
Well, what Troy's been able to do over the last couple of years is just getting a little bit tougher and more physical. Instead of just riding, like I said, he really goes after it, looking for the
bent leg Turk.
Yep, you bet. And we've seen some wrestlers of great fame.
Well, there are wrestlers
no less than Dave Schultz. Teach a lot of other people how to defuse that.
Penalty on the bottom against the bottom man. And it's 3-0 in favor of Steiner. Yeah, that bent leg trick. There are people walking around in the streets listing slightly to one side or another as a result of having been caught in the bent leg trick. 3-0 at the end of the first period.
There's Bob Bowlesby, the athletic director at the University of Iowa and the chairman of the NCAA Rules Committee for Wrestling. And he's awful proud to have the meet here tonight. He's excited about not only the Iowa team, but the state of wrestling right now, because there's 3 new programs in Division I in wrestling this year. And Bob Bowlesby leads the charge for the NCAA Rules to make it a more exciting sport, working very closely with the NWCA.
And as we said, of the 20 wrestlers in this All-Star Meet tonight, 11 of them are from Iowa universities. Iowa State, UNI, and, of course, the homestanding Iowa Hawkeye team. The blue uniform for one team, the red for the other. The Hawkeyes are in the blue team. Cyclones are on the red team, and Rich Powers of UNI is on the blue team. We'll see him later against Matt Johnson of Iowa State, 177. That's Santana.
Now he just needs to come around, crowd into those hips right there.
You can wrestle there.
He needs to pull it in, and continue to improve his positioning as he pulls it in. But
the whizzer was too good for Steiner, and he managed to fight that one off with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go in the second period. 3-0 Steiner leads. In the blue. very tough workman-like out there. Just likes to control things, you can see.
Well, he stays in the center also. You notice Santana is always on the edge right there, and that's a tactic there that wrestlers learn to get good at.
Went for the high crotch. He's going to try to score before Santana can get out of bounds, and he does. 5-zip. Troy Steiner from Century High School in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Okay, guys, we got to open up.
Which has, at the moment, the top-ranked high school team in the country. Not his Century High School either, right?
Right. It's the crosstown rivals that are ranked #1 by Amateur Wrestling News or by USA Today for the top high school wrestling team in the nation at mid-season.
Chad Crow doesn't like the activity either way, and he warns Steiner, but it's a penalty against Santana because he has been warned before and penalized before. 6-0. Next time it'll be 2 points if Santana is called again. 30 seconds to go in the second period. That's the first point for Santana. 6-1. Now he gets in on the leg. I thought he had that one deeply enough to score, but Steiner shrugged his way right out with the hip.
Steiner has a lot of length there, a lot of leverage, and he uses it very wisely. You got to use what you got.
It's the National Wrestling Coaches Association All Star Meet from Iowa City. We're at the end of the second period of the 142. Troy Steiner leading Rich Santana 6-1. The blue team has won all the matches because they're all been Iowa Hawkeyes so far. And that's what happened in the early part. That first one was a thriller.
It's just great to have overtime in a dual meet.
Eric Akins got out fast, but Zaputil got stronger as the meet went on and won in the overtime against Eric Akins of Iowa State. Then Terry Brands had very little trouble, and Tom Brands got some revenge against Alan Freed of Oklahoma State, 15-9 at 134. Looked pretty good in doing it. Looked very good in doing it, in fact.
Go, guys. Come on, open it up. Nobody gets hurt. We're going to wrestle.
Tom Brands. Did I say the wrong Brands?
Nobody gets thrilled.
I just saw the TR there.
Oh. A minute 40 to go at 142 pounds in the third period and a 6-1 lead for Steiner. And boy, he's where he likes to be, up on top.
And he makes himself so heavy, and it's just so hard for a person underneath Troy Steiner.
Well, we'll see his brother, Terry Steiner, next against Torrey Jackson of Iowa State in what should be they've had 2 barn burners this year with a lot of scores in it. And that'll be fun to watch. The best of the best here at Carver Hawkeye. A minute 20. Official is Chad Crow. Remember that Troy Steiner on top has not only a 6-1 lead, but Santana on the bottom is handicapped. He handicapped himself by being penalized twice for inactivity.
Yeah, he needs to open up just to save himself from getting that 2 points. That'll help right there that he was able to jump.
Chad Crow is indicating there was no escape there. It was not time for an escape, not reaction time. So Steiner is maintaining control.
Stalemate. You are riding. Let's go.
There's Gene Mills, the great NCAA champion from Syracuse, now coaching at Syracuse. Did a lot of international wrestling, very successful.
I got you off here.
One of the light hearts wrestling.
To go for the 2.
6-1 lead for Steiner on top. He lets Santana go. 6-2, but
watch the knee.
He has more riding time.
Watch that knee, Chad. Start again. I can't.
You'd need to finish the average steak dinner, I think. It's about almost 4 minutes here. Steiner in behind.
That's a nice job. Real slick by Steiner. Now he's able to drop his level, lower his hips, and drag Santana down to the mat. And then immediately put his weight on top of him and keep him flattened out.
But he lets him go to try in the last 30 seconds to take him down again. He has riding time, and if he can take him down and hold him, he'll get a major decision. They're not keeping a team score here, blue against red, but he wants the satisfaction of winning by a major decision. What'll happen?
Just trying to get in tight enough that he can cut across. Right there, he's cutting across. Coming across the 2.3.
He may not have time. Yes, he does. And there it is. It is a major decision, 10-3. 11-3 with the riding time. Makes it a major. And the Iowa Hawkeyes have been very successful in their part of representing this blue team in the National Wrestling Coaches All Star Meet. They have won the first 4 weights against whatever competition came along. And here comes Terry Steiner. It's one brother after another, as you know. If you're a Hawkeye watcher, you know that they have 2 sets of twins in the lineup, top-ranked wrestlers in almost every instance. Now at 150, you're looking at Torrey Jackson, who's wrestling for the Red All-Star team. He's ranked first, having beaten Terry Steiner twice this year in very close matches. And Torrey Jackson's from Iowa State. Terry Steiner has some of the same, many of the same characteristics as his brother, and a very fine workmanlike power approach to this game. And Jackson is a quick, explosive, very exciting wrestler on his feet, and he has been able to defeat Steiner in the past this year by his quickness and power on the feet.
What's really neat about both these wrestlers is they have continued to improve over the last couple of years. Terry Steiner making an All-American status last year, and Torrey Jackson coming within an eyelash of being an All-American himself, but he has really established himself over the off-season and the preseason, working real hard. And he's #1 ranked now, and he's really come on. And of course, he's got,
there's Kevin. That's one of the reasons.
I was going to say, there he's comes from good stock, and he's got a brother that's the #1 ranked, #1 hopeful in the Olympics, for the Olympics in 1992. He only has to defend himself against one contender, one opponent to make that Olympic team, Kevin Jackson. So
at 180 pounds. Well, this is the way the actual numbers of takedowns, escapes, match points have been going. So far, they're not keeping a team score here, however, the blue and against the red, but you know which is your favorites are on.
As far as matches, right, Doug?
That's right. Torrey Jackson in the red against Terry Steiner. They've had 2 high-scoring matches before this year, but they haven't touched each other here in the first minute and a half. Underhooks by Jackson.
Working the inside, trying to set up some kind of attack right there, trying to shrug under.
And Steiner working to counter that quickness, that explosiveness up there. And I suspect by keeping the score low till late in the match, Steiner feels he's successful. Drops in on the single leg. There's Steiner, but too much power from Jackson.
Well, you said it, Doug. There's a lot of power in Torrey Jackson. And if there's one difference here, it would be in raw power and physicalness right there. And that's something that Terry Steiner continues to try to improve. But he's not quite at the level as Torrey Jackson in pure power.
But he's wrestling before the home crowd. And
give you some power,
he's been in some very close matches. They've had some toughies this year. Last minute of the first period. Steiner in the blue on the right, Jackson in the red for the red team in the All Star Meet National Wrestling Coaches Association Classic.
You said earlier about the couple of matches that were real close, 8-7 and 16-13 in the first 2 matches this year.
In the middle, guys.
I don't know if it's going to be that high this time.
It doesn't look like it so far. And as I say, I think it's the Steiners' advantage to stay in there tight.
Try to score, gentlemen. Try to score.
But there is Jackson in on the leg. That's what he's looking for, to get out ahead.
Well, he's strong, he's quick, he's just a great athlete.
Beautiful high single by Terry Jackson. Escape. They're even with 6 seconds to go.
You're neutral, on the mark. On the mark.
I think most observers feel that Jackson needs to You nullify the riding ability of the Steiners by getting out for a takedown quickly. A reminder that at the intermission tonight, we'll be talking with Jim Gibbons, the Iowa State wrestling coach, about his resignation at the end of the season. As Cyclones head coach, we'll ask him about it, why he did it, what the future holds. We'll also show you our college wrestling schedule, and we'll look at the stats on the first half of tonight's all-star duel from Iowa City.
Well, what you were just mentioning there, Doug, about Steiner being able to nullify with his riding time, what he is nullifying is that power we were talking about and that strength. Steiner is a better rider. Now, he's just been penalized for walking Tory Jackson off the mat instead of taking him back down. Therefore, Tory Jackson got 1 point, a penalty against Terry Steiner there. But to finish my point, Jackson, to become a total wrestler, must also be able to ride a little bit longer than he has been able to.
Steiner has the leg in.
Watch that knee now.
There was an indication there that a leg is stronger than an arm. Jackson had the arm under. Steiner's leg couldn't prevent the move. Flattens Jackson out. 21 seconds, 22 and counting in riding time in the second period. But Jackson, the man on the bottom, leads 3-1.
You get the feeling that Terry Steiner does not want to walk out of this hall tonight anything but a winner right now.
But I suspect you can say the same for Tory Jackson here. It's two rivals from Iowa and Iowa State in the National Wrestling Coaches All Star Meet. Jackson's able to get to his feet right away, but Steiner has the leg. Yeah. He's very, very slick with that.
Terry Steiner, the 5th Iowa wrestler here in a row, wrestling for the NWCA All Star Blue Squad. 4 wins for Iowa wrestlers so far. Terry Steiner, the 5th in line right here, going against #1 ranked Tory Jackson and doing a nice job of riding hard.
Now Steiner's 1 point away from a minute in riding time here. Minute advantage. With 50 seconds to go in the first period.
Freeze going top.
Keep standing up with the legs in.
Now Steiner looks like he's a little high this time. He's a little high. And he got reversed, and that's Jackson leading 5-1.
That was a good sense by Tory Jackson right there. He felt Steiner come high and was able to react very positively.
5-2 in favor of Jackson. And Steiner is into the high leg, but again the power gets Jackson out. 20 seconds to go in the second period, 5-2. We're right on the edge. To 2 in favor of Jackson on the red team of Iowa State. You see a lot of the Iowa coaches over there, and right next to two people down from Dan Gable is Kevin Jackson.
Yeah, the 2 unofficial coaches are sitting next to each other.
Steiner in on the leg. Can he win it? Can he get this takedown?
You got to grind it out. He's got to get it here to be in the mat.
He didn't quite get it because Jackson's a little bit too quick. What'll happen? 2. Jackson doesn't think it's given up yet. They're going to stop it. I think Chad Crow and Mike Pyle are having a disagreement about that.
Right, and I don't think it's right. The head referee calls this right there, and they don't stop it in the middle.
It is a takedown. A takedown by Steiner. His first of the match.
Yeah, whether or not that was 2 or not. Look at how he spun around. Look for the head, shook, look for the head, and got that 2 reversal. That's the 2 reversal that came a little while ago. Then Steiner got away, and Steiner almost had or just got a takedown right there.
Now we're going to the third period. It's 5-4 in favor of Jackson. Steiner gets to start on the bottom. And Iowa Hawkeyes, there it's 5-5. The Hawkeyes have not lost a match yet in this All-Star Meet. And here is a single leg again by Steiner. Jackson trying to fight his way out with the whizzer. He's in good position now. Troy Steiner just keeps trying to cut across with that double leg. Keeps trying. Terry Steiner. Now Jackson is in good position to come free. Goes for the leg and scores.
That was a matter right there of who was going to stay in good position through a flurry. Both got in bad position for a second, but Torrey Jackson was able to come out and take advantage of bad position. What happened there was Terry Steiner almost had it executed really well right here. Now, this is the finish right there for 2 points. Terry Steiner had cut across. His head was to the outside. He was just about ready to drive for 2. Jackson hipped into him, straightened him straight up, and that's what got him into the flurry, and Jackson was able to come around for 2 points.
Now, away we go with 1:12 to go. It's a 1-point lead for Jackson after that escape, 7-6. Riding time doesn't count right now because it's only 36 seconds for Steiner. Jackson has spent enough time on top. They lock up, upper body right on the edge of the mat. Go chest to chest for a minute. Nothing happened.
It was 8-7 their first time, 16-13 their second time, and now it's 7-6 with 57 seconds left. Boy, they provide fans with great matches.
Terry Steiner of Iowa against Torrey Jackson of Iowa State, representing the blue and red teams respectively. A double leg by Steiner. He's in deep. He's in very deep. And he scores. And it's 8-7, and he goes to work riding on the top. He got in very deep, and there's a warning on the bottom against Jackson.
Look at this shot. He just shot right in. A little touch on the head. Shot in and improved his position by coming up and in, driving in, hook at the ankle. Now, look at this. Comes around adjusts for 2 points. Good job by Terry Steiner.
Now, here's the thing, Tim. There are 46 seconds of riding time for Steiner. If he can ride for 10 more seconds,
he doesn't.
He didn't. Now it's even. Otherwise,
Takedown wins it, or they go into overtime. Doug, we still got the Iowa State dual meet in front of us.
That's right. Duck under by Jackson, but Steiner countered it really well and almost got the takedown. They're out of bounds with 16 seconds to go. 16 seconds to go. 8-8.
This is tremendous wrestling. Iowa State gave it to us at 118, and they're giving it to us again. This is great.
And 2 different styles. Jackson with a single leg. 10 seconds to go. He got it. And it's Jackson's explosiveness at the end. He's going to ride it out, and he wins.
Good match. Great match. That's a very, very good win for Torrey Jackson. Nice match by Terry Steiner.
And that's the way they've ended every single time between these two, and they'll meet again. Here is Torrey Jackson, ranked number 1, with a last-second takedown.
Look at this. He's inside. He's in on the leg, but that little trip there enabled him to come across for a low double leg right there. The 2 points right there, signaled by the referee, Mike Pyle.
And that's the end of the 150-pound match in the National Wrestling Coaches Association All Star Meet. And earlier, we had an opportunity to visit with the Iowa State Cyclones head coach, Jim Gibbons, the coach of Torrey Jackson, about Jim's decision to resign at Iowa State effective at the end of the year. And here's what we had to say. Jim, it's a big surprise to a lot of people when a successful 32-year-old coach says it's all. What's the reason for the change?
Well, Doug, I just thought it would be a good time for me personally to make a move in my career. I think things have gone pretty well for me here at Iowa State, and I just felt that maybe perhaps it'd be a healthy thing for me at this point in my life to find another challenge.
Well, no extenuating circumstances like coaching changes and that sort of thing?
No, I don't. You won't see anything like that, but I think that was probably some of the initial the fears that, hey, there's some type of ultimatum, there's something wrong at Iowa State, and that really isn't the case at all. I think after talking to Dr. Jiske and Max Urich and Dave Cox extensively, we have a strong commitment to wrestling here at Iowa State.
Now, what do you want to do? You must have some idea of the direction.
Well, I think that what I didn't want to do was to go out and covertly find something and then all of a sudden decide and then find out later that my opportunities would be a little bit you know, expanded after the announcement. So at this point in time, my first concern is, number one, is to finish out the rest of the season and have a strong performance in the national tournament and do everything we possibly can as a staff and as a coach to make sure that we have a strong effort in the national tournament. And after that, I plan on, you know, doing some networking and finding out what my opportunities are, and hopefully I'll find somebody or some situation that puts a premium on my experiences and talents.
You don't seem to be too worried about it.
Well, not at this point, but I haven't gone without a check yet.
Well, what kind of status do you think wrestling is in now? How do you think the sport is as you prepare to leave it?
Well, I think that there has been some interesting articles and I, you know, in the state of Iowa with regard to the situation with wrestling nationally. I know at Iowa State it's in strong shape. It's in a strong position. I think that Iowa State will be one of the last footholds of wrestling if it gets to that point. But I don't think that I can get overly concerned about those type of things or necessarily want to comment about it without just taking a look at what's happening with college athletics nationally and all sports. 70% of the athletic programs in the country don't make money, and I think these are issues that the presidents are gravely concerned with, and they have to decide or put a premium on certain activities, and they're very concerned about the spending that's going on. So however wrestling fits into that will be the challenge for the new leaders of the sport.
Iowa Public Television.
TV worth watching. IPTV.
And a thank you to Jim Gibbons, whose presence has been one of the enduring memories of our wrestling series over the years on college wrestling on Iowa Public Television, which is coming to you tonight from Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, where it's the National Wrestling Coaches All Star Classic Meet. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of college wrestling. We're on every week, Sunday afternoons at 4:30, and another primetime special will be coming up. We have something for you to look at to show you what we do have, because it's coming up on Sunday, another match between two of the best teams in the state of Iowa, UNI against second-ranked Iowa State. You'll see Rich Powers of UNI wrestling Matt Johnson of Iowa State yet tonight. Then it's Iowa against Penn State on the following Sunday, and Iowa State and Drake on the 16th of February, and then another primetime special Saturday night, the 22nd of February, Iowa and Iowa State from right here in Carver Hawkeye Arena. Well, Tim, it's been a wonderful all-star meet. We're sorry again that we missed a little bit of one because of a power outage here, but there was no power outage in that last match or any of the others that we saw tonight.
Oh, I thought they were great. You know, what I thought was really great, beginning and the end of that first half, Iowa State, I thought they gave us tremendous matches. Like I said, we've got the dual meet in front of us.
That's right. In the first one, then, there were two terrific matches. The first one, Chad Zaputil beat Eric Akins. Akins got out fast, and Zaputil just kept coming and got him in the overtime. And then that last one, Torrey Jackson showed that explosiveness at the end, the ability to put together a lot of speed and power for a quick second or two to win when he had to have it at the very end against the toughest opponent you can imagine, Terry Steiner, who's been so good.
Don't you think that overtime is great in dual meets?
Yeah.
For the viewers, we have it in the NCAA tournament, but it isn't officially in the dual meets, but tonight it is.
May be. I think events like this are going to put it in the dual meets. And I know there's a lot of support for that around the country among coaches, you know, to say no draws. We're gonna settle it out there, and they can do it in a big hurry. Well, the first half here, the blue team was largely, well, it was all Iowa, as a matter of fact. The Hawkeyes were the blue team here for the first 5 weights, and you'll see what kind of statistics they piled up in total points and takedowns. The only loss of the blue team was in that last match where Torrey Jackson of Iowa State beat Terry Steiner in a last-second takedown. There were no near falls. There were some near falls, you might say, but nothing that counted. And no pins, and a lot of good wrestling. And boy, do we have one coming up next.
Oh, we really do. 158. We've got two NCAA champions, Matt Demaray from 150 last year, and Pat Smith going for his third this year. He was at 158 national champion last year. Whew.
And Pat Smith is from that, as we said, there's Matt Demaray from Wisconsin. Just a solid all-around wrestler. In fact, he lost for the second time this year. He lost to Iowa's Tom Ryan, who's not happy about sitting in the crowd and knowing that he's ranked third. But that's Pat Smith for the red team. He has a possibility of being the first wrestler ever to win 4 national titles. Nobody's ever done it.
4 NCAA Division I national titles. It's something that's been sought after and not found.
But it's a lot easier to say it than to do it. And he definitely has a long ways to go yet. And you'll see him out here now against a tough national champion opponent at a lower weight last year. The red team, Smith of Oklahoma State, of the Big 8. Blue team, Demaray of Wisconsin, the Big 10. Very stable is Demaray. Good, solid position.
Again,
don't wait, guys. Come
both
on,
these wrestlers are future hopeful Olympians. They both have the style. Demaray, especially right now as a senior, he could challenge this year for a spot in a national team, which is the top 3. He has the style, and so does Pat Smith, of course, and you're going to see a lot of both of these wrestlers beyond their NCAA eligibility.
Back to the center again. They have used a minute here, looking at each other. Neither's wrestled the other, as far as I know.
Offense, guys, come on.
You hear Chad Crow. Oh, there goes Matt Demaray on the leg, but it's not enough for Smithy. Demaray's doing a nice job out there with an underhook and a second shot and an ankle pick, but he hasn't scored. He's at least giving Smith something to think about. They lock horns, separate. There's that famous Smith low single
that his brother John Smith, 5-time world champion, made famous. I mean, he really changed the sport. Very few wrestlers in the history of the sport have the opportunity to actually change the sport, but John has that low single down pat, and you know,
got him the Sullivan Award last year.
Bet, it did.
The best amateur athlete in the United States. Name your sport.
Go, guys. Come on, offense.
A minute 20 to go in the first period. With Smith on the outside, he'd rather not tie up.
Not wait.
Demaray's willing to settle for that same open position. Now Smith locks up a little bit. Each has made some shots, but they're both inactive now. Chad Crow whistles them back to the center again. He just assumed they rethought this and went back to work. 2 national champions here. Wrestling at 158. Demaray up 1 weight from last year. What do you think? He's going to stay there this year, probably, through the entire NCAAs? Demaray's been at 158 all year. 55 seconds to go, first period.
We talked about the family story and the Smiths with Leroy and their younger brother Mark even coming up behind, but Demaray, Matt's from a good wrestling family. His dad, Bill, won 2 Division II championships in the late 60s, early 70s.
Hey guys, open up.
Smith made the shot from outside, and Demaray immediately launched his tough front headlock that stopped the position, and so the referee, Chad Crow, brought it back to a stalemate, back up on their feet again. You can see Smith like a snake out there, snapping up, looking for an ankle from the right across the top of the mat. 20 seconds to go. Yep, Tom Ryan of Iowa beat Matt Demaray over the weekend, 5-4 on the last period takedown. This is only the second loss for Demaray this year. And Smith has been tied once by Ray Miller of Arizona State. Now, Chad Crow's seen enough. He warns both men for inactivity. They're both being too cautious. No scoring in the end of the first period. 3 minutes gone without a score. And it's Smith's choice. So he goes under.
Bottom of your set, top man.
That's the first freshman ever to win.
Took a couple hops before we got started.
Right out of high school, the NCAA championship, 1 of 3.
Hold you just a little bit.
There have been some people who were good enough to win 4 national championships who had, I think of one, for instance, back in the 40s from Cornell College. Lowell Lang won 3 titles and was hurt the fourth year and never got a chance.
Both Lowell Lang and Dick Hauser were true freshmen when they won NCAA titles in 1947. And they just, like you said, it didn't...
In on the leg, this is Demaray, but boy, Smith is strong in there against that position. He counted out of it very quickly.
Offense, come on. You've both been warned. Let's go, offense.
They respect each other. Demaray went from, Smith went from the outside. Now here's Demaray coming back with that heel pick and a takedown.
You know, I don't know about this year, but last year, Pat Smith didn't give up a takedown until the first round of the NCAA tournament. It happens this year in mid-season against Matt Demaray at the All Star Meet.
It's not the first time he saw that move in the match either. It was Demaray.
Hey guys, come on, get after it.
At least let him know it was there early. But Demaray now leads 2-1 on a slick takedown. 2-2, I take that back after the escape earlier.
Be interesting. Demaray's good when he gets out ahead, but Pat Smith has proven he can come from behind, especially last year when he had a takedown in the last half minute of the match against Tom Ryan to win the national championship in his second.
Demaray has missed that long single twice and then has followed up with this move. And Smith, or rather Smith, and Smith is now up 4-2.
25, he gave him the 2. 25.
It was a really clever secondary move by Smith, because Demaray obviously is looking for that long single, and now Smith is in with both legs with only 10 seconds to go in the second period and leading 4-2.
I see Russ Hellickson. There's Andy Ryan, protege, the head coach of Wisconsin, and a protege of Russ Hellickson, the coach today when Russ was at Wisconsin.
Now, see, he didn't get the low single,
but he was able to really do a nice sort
of little arm drag.
Yeah, a little arm drag around, and stuck his leg in there and secured the 2 points. And the leg inside.
And he rides Demaray out. Riding time 19 seconds for Smith at the end of the second period, but with a 4-2 lead, that takedown was important for Smith because Demaray goes to the bottom and has a chance to escape for a point.
Bottom of the set, top man take them. Both you got one.
4-2. This match is going to be settled on the feet again. Looks that way. Tight waist by Smith. Took the ankle just long enough to keep Demaray from getting away, but can't do it the second time, and it's now 4-3 in favor of Smith. And we're back on the feet where each man had a takedown in the second period.
Don't wait, guys. Don't wait. Come on. Don't wait.
Each man's been warned. And I know that the officials don't want to settle a close match by calling penalties, so they just as soon get a lot of activity out here.
There's that little short arm drag right there that's turning into a good single leg. He needs to he's got to come around now. He needs to slip the arm out.
No points yet. No points yet.
Talk about Pat Smith here trying to slip the arm out. He does.
There it is.
2 points.
All right, now there's an example of Smith, potentially dangerous position, stop that, of Smith learning something as the match went on. He went to school on what happened in that defensive position by Demaray and has scored twice on that slick little move of the arm drag.
Not when it goes to the outside. It was out here.
Chad Crow is waiting for Demaray to get the headgear back on. That's Pat Smith leading 6-3. We have 1:08 to go. The National Wrestling Coaches All Star Meet in Iowa City. The blue team, Demaray. The red team, Smith. Demaray's out. There's no riding time, so a takedown by Demaray ties it.
Well, both young men's fathers are here, and they're both nervous in the stand. Bill Demaray's over there cheering for Matt, of course, and Leroy Sr. is up in the stands. I saw him earlier, traveling all the way up from Dell City to see Pat wrestle.
Demaray missed the ankle pick, and now Smith is back with a single leg. If he takes this, he could probably pretty well ice the match, but he doesn't have it yet. They're right on the edge.
Oh, nice job by Demaray of getting off the mat there, keeping himself in. Takedown ties it.
Now if they go to the center, 6-4 with 26 seconds to go. Demaray needs a takedown to tie. We've had one overtime.
There's been no
couple
stall
of others that were close. Demaray took a shot, didn't get it. Now, a penalty point against Smith would not be enough for Demaray. And it's Smith's match, 6-4. No riding time, 6-4 in favor of Last year's 158-pound champion, Pat Smith of Oklahoma State, against Matt Demaray, last year's 150-pound national champion from Wisconsin. And here comes the 167 class, and you're looking at Steve Hamilton for the red team.
I think this should be a real good
Iowa State.
Charlie Jones, Purdue for the blue team.
There's Charlie Jones. Power pack 167-pounder, was an All-American last year. Wrestling for what is largely the Big Ten dominated blue team in the All Star Meet. And Steve Hamilton, who has wrestled at 150 and at 158 in the national championships, but has never quite won a title, this year looks like he's going to settle for 167. And his coach, Jim Gibbons, says he's been very tough this year at that weight.
Well, this is his best test so far at this weight. And, what a test it is. Charlie Jones is a nice size 167-pounder. And interesting story. After a time with the military, went into an NAIA school and became an All-American. Decided that Division I's where he wanted to be, transferred to Purdue. He's 28 years old.
Yep.
And trying to become a two-time NCAA All-American.
And there are two 28-year-olds on the rosters tonight.
Randy Couture from Oklahoma State, who will be wrestling at 190, also
came back from the military.
And now is looking to become a 3- or 4-time All-American.
That's Hamilton in the red. We'll be watching Iowa State against UNI in our dual meet on Sunday on Iowa Public Television, starting at 4:30. And Hamilton has his hands full with Charlie Jones of Purdue. In fact, one of the best matches in the Nationals last year was between Charlie Jones and his boyhood idol, right?
The other way around. Kevin Randall's right. That outstanding freshman from Ohio State last year who was in the finals and finished second to Mark Ryland from Iowa. Charlie Jones was his idol, his hero.
The other way around.
At Sandusky, Ohio, in high school there, and then what do you know? They end up a few years later wrestling for the national finals and the semifinals. They also wrestled for the Big Ten finals championships also. And now they're separated by a weight class.
Time, gentlemen, try to score now.
A minute 15 to go in the first period. Hamilton of Iowa State wrestling for the red all-star team against Charlie Jones of Purdue in the blue, and there's not been much activity. They are locking themselves up here in the locked horns position and
1 minute.
Staying away from the legs so far. I think somebody lost a mouthpiece there.
Both these young men are enjoying great seasons, and for their respective teams, their best seasons so far.
Stay in and work. Stay in and work.
Charlie, let's go.
Hamilton wrestled. We were watching Matt Demaray a while ago, and last year at 150 pounds, Steve Hamilton wrestled in the national finals against Matt Demaray and was taken down in the last period and lost the title to the
Inbounds, work in.
Wisconsin Badger, who finished the season undefeated in 1991.
You're wasting time.
They're going to warn both men. And that meets the approval, I think, of some of the fans in Carver Hawkeye Arena. 10 seconds to go, first period.
Well, the difference for Steve Hamilton this year so far is he's been healthy. Last year he had knee problems, and his knee kept locking up. So it's nice for him to be healthy.
End of the first period. Last year at 167 pounds, that man was the national champion. Mark Ryland of Iowa. He's had trouble getting started this year, had some injuries, and has not been able to work himself back into shape yet. And it's getting down late in the season, and crunch time is coming for Mark Ryland. He's not in there tonight, although he was the national champion last year.
Nice job of controlling the hands by Steve Hamilton. Got his hips down, was able to run off and escape at the same time.
1-0 Jones.
Back to the middle, let's go.
Or 1-0 Hamilton, I should say.
Ready? Back a little quicker.
Charlie Jones, undefeated this year, as you see. 167 pounds. Steve Hamilton lost one match this year at 67. It was to a wrestler from Marquette, 2-1. said
Supposed to have a
didn't
warning,
think it could
guys.
happen
Supposed to
again
have
in
a
100 years, but he just didn't wrestle very well, and he lost 2-1.
Both these wrestlers are very good when they get a lead. If one of the wrestlers get a takedown, they're very hard to come back on.
That way you don't...
Jones in the blue. Minute 17. I think somebody's
Over here.
got cut a little bit. Hamilton.
I did it. Towel.
There's Marv Hess right there with the blue striped collar. He's been the executive vice president for a number of years for the NWCA. He's done a tremendous job in promoting the sport through the NWCA, and he has just been recently elected into the Wrestling Hall of Fame, and for his contributions. There's Jack Childs, the current president of the NWCA from Drexel, and he's doing an outstanding job, both of these men, for the Wrestling Coaches Association. And there's Les Anderson leaning in, talking to Marv Hess, and he is going to be the successor to Marv Hess as the executive vice president. Les, of course, the assistant coach, longtime assistant coach for the Iowa State Cyclones, and he will also be the executive vice president for the NWCA and taking care of their everyday operations.
The next meet on Iowa Public Television's College Wrestling Series will be Sunday at 4:30. Groundhog Day. Iowa State against UNI from the Unidome. It'll be the first time we'll see the Iowa State team this year. They were going to wrestle Oklahoma State, as you know, in our opening part of our schedule, and Oklahoma State didn't have a team.
Freeze on Bob, go on top.
There's Hamilton with a cut chin. Switch by Jones, but Hamilton stays with it by cutting across. He's been able to keep the position.
Nice hip job by Charlie Jones to get out for one. Hamilton had him tight, but Jones kept inching out and got a real important 1 point there. It's not the kind you like to give up to Steve Hamilton inside 10 seconds.
Rich Powers, Tim, who's going to be up next for UNI. 177-pounder, and he's been the class of the country this year. Undefeated in 19 goes. Now Jones starts under, trailing by 2. And again, he switches. This time he couldn't make it work.
Hamilton did a better job of crowding the hips there, and a little bit higher than he was. Again, here comes Jones trying to switch. Hamilton, if he can get the angle, Jones can get out, but he's not. Hamilton's able to stay squared on and keep the hips tight.
Let's look at the time, because it matters. The riding time, 58, 59 seconds, a minute. Now Hamilton has more than a minute of riding time.
Well, Jones is trying to call timeout.
Blue.
Jones asks for time. Hamilton moves away to his bench. He can be coached in this situation. Not his usual coaching staff over here, of course. Enjoy college wrestling, and then afterwards, stay tuned for more great public television programming, because immediately following tonight's special meet, the Nightly Business Report will bring you up to date on the world of finance. And then at 10:30, one of television's most highly acclaimed public affairs programs, Frontline.
It's magic, the way he deals with people.
But he takes a lesser athlete